if you just do 3 steps, cleanse your face, put your moisturizer on, throw your SPF on in the morning, and nighttime cleanse and moisturize. Keep it super simple. If you're super overwhelmed or a busy mom, or you're going through, shit's hit the fan, that's all right. Just do that. And I think if you just do those things and you start to become consistent with it, the changes happen, which then in turn will encourage you to do it more often.
Welcome to the Advanced Women's Health Podcast, where we empower women with the latest insights and advice on holistic health. From cutting-edge medical research to practical wellness tips, our mission is to help you thrive at every stage of life. Join us as we explore topics ranging from hormonal balance and reproductive health to nutrition and mental well-being. Whether you're seeking solutions for a specific health concern or simply want to enhance your overall wellness, you're in the right place. Let's embark on this journey to better health together. This is the Advanced Women's Health Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I am so excited to record today with Vee Skin by Vee. Vee and I have met and at an event, actually. Yeah. She slid into my DMs after the Menopause event with Coco, and we chatted at the airport because I travel all the time. And just had such an amazing conversation about what we wanted women to know about their skin and about health and about the fact that your skin is such a representation of everything else going on in your life, but it's also such a critical point of confidence. It's the first thing that we put forward. And I think we're very united on creating an empowering treatment room where people can talk about what's going on, but we're also giving them all of the tools that they need to feel like themselves. And as you'll hear, I am spicy. Vee is a Brit, so we're about to have a very fun podcast.
It's yes. Maybe we should write PG X-rated. Like we should have like some.
Oh, all of my podcasts are explicit.
We love that. Oh my!
So I would love for you to introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about your crazy journey into the skin empire.
Yeah, of course. So, hi guys, my name is Vee Mistry. They call me a celebrity facialist. I change skin and change lives because, like you said, Dr. Sarah, your skin is so impactful on just how you look and feel, whether it's in that moment, in that day, or whatever is going on in your life journey at that time. So, I have been a facialist as well. I'm a full-rounded esthetician. I've been doing this for 28 years. Always give my age away at that point because I am a dinosaur. But I'm born and raised in England. That's where I did all of my education. I married a Canadian because he just couldn't find a Canadian to marry there. So I was like, all right, I'll take you on. So So I was like, all right, then let's go. Let's do this. So we got married. I moved to Toronto, Canada. And over the course of the 28 years, just worked at many different spas, different sizes, mama papa shops on the corner, all the way through to freestanding full like spa resorts. I've trained and worked everywhere between New York, Paris, London, Miami, Toronto. So it's been quite a whirlwind journey, and I'm so honored to have met and touched so many faces. But my love for facials has always been there because I think there's something so amazing when you really start touching the face and you use the right ingredients and you use the correct ways of manipulation. Something really amazing starts to happen. And the skin is the largest organ in the body. And when you slowly watch that you're able to change the skin within a couple of hours of my experience, and everybody comes to the mirror and they're like, oh my God, what did you do? Like, why do my eyes look up here? And why do I look like I've never seen this definition? So I think there's something really powerful in touch. A lot of my facials have been predominantly pillared around two main aspects. One, which is massage. So I incorporate European massage, Japanese vibrational, intraoral buccal massage. And it's really through this massaging component that really helps lift, sculpt, contour, get that oxygenation going, getting that circulation, feeding the fascia, feeding the tissues, and you can really create this beautiful, nice luminescence and vibrance to the skin. Also, all my facials are done cold, so I'm a big believer in bringing down low-level inflammation in the skin. I think we all have it. Anything from sensitivity, irritation, contact dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis, perioral dermatitis, even acne, pigmentation, all of those components have some level of inflammation. So when you put cryotherapy to it, it constricts that vasodilation. It brings a lot more balance back to the skin, and we slowly start to see that the results are that much more better. I do not believe in, oh, your skin's going to look terrible for the next 48 hours like I've beaten you up. Gone are those days. So my clients literally will leave my studio looking absolutely glorious. People will hit a gala, red carpet, big events, interviews. They've done weddings on the same day as well. So yeah, it's a beautiful experience. And yeah, that's me. I love skin. I'm so fascinated by it. I do definitely incorporate obviously ingredients. So the consumption of using the right products with the right formulations alongside LED, light therapy, microcurrent, ultrasonic, all of these things are all parts of creating that full experience.
So I want to know, how did you get from Vee, the skin therapist, right, the esthetician who was using products and doing basic facial techniques to where you are now? Like, what was that journey of seeing the results with light therapy, with microcurrent, with the cold?
Yeah.
Because I think, as someone who has had facials with and without those things, it makes such a huge difference, right? It's a totally different experience. But I also think you can only connect the dots looking back, not forward. And I love to know what people's learning lessons were during that period. So, what did that exploration look like for you? Was it just you heard something on social and tried it and loved it? Or like, walk me through that.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is you mentioned socials, and I think there's the good, bad, and the ugly around socials. For me,
Yeah.
I consume the good. So I think, there's nothing more beautiful than learning from each other, and that's how we all grow. It doesn't mean that, I'm less knowledgeable than somebody else. So I'm always wanting to learn more. I think if we go way back, I've always been one that's probably annoyed every single rep that's come in because I ask all the questions and I'm like, but why? Why
Yeah.
can you only layer X with, this?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, because that's just the way it is. And I'm like, but that's not an answer. It's like there has to be an answer. So, I'm a big believer that if there are estheticians who watch this and, who are listening to this, who are maybe younger or even older, and they're like thinking, yeah, I do this, but it makes no sense, then challenge it. It's really okay to use your voice and challenge it because a rep or a company that is well established, they don't know more than you. Nobody knows more than each other. We all know what we know. We bring something to the table. And for me, my journey really was really just working through through those different platforms. So I worked at spas where it was this revolving door and just getting people in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
And I actually had a conversation. I love to also share my experiences and my knowledge from what I know. And I was saying to a younger esthetician, she DM'd me, she was like, how do I get here and what do I do? And I said, you know what, when you're young, you want to work at these places where it is a revolving door, so you're just getting them out, and it's
Yeah.
that factory, and you're pumping them out, and you're not going to give the best experience because what they'll tell you to do is you can only use one pump of this, and you can only use 2 scoops of this,
Yeah.
and it's very programmed to only do, A, B, and C. And that's okay, because what you're going to learn from that is what you want to deliver as the experience that you're not able to do because your hands are tied, because this company is saying you can only work within this parameter.
Absolutely.
So I think for me, as I've grown, worked through those spas, asked the irritating questions of why, and that makes no sense, and really like say, no, what you're saying is absolute bullshit. And oh, I'm allowed to
Yeah.
swear.
Well, you are definitely. Don't worry. It's my podcast, girl. You know that.
Okay. I was like, oh shoot.
No, we're good. We're good.
And yeah, so I feel like it's really about saying, no, bullshit. I'm calling bullshit because
Yeah.
that makes no sense to me. And, it's this constant, if companies are saying you can only do this, this, and this, and it's misinformation, then how many estheticians are you throwing out there that keep throwing out the wrong information? And that to me, it makes me sad. So in terms of how did I get here, it's really just challenging. It's not just being annoying for the sake of annoying, but it is creating the conversation. And it's okay
Yeah.
to even tell the rep, like, I want to challenge you, like, why is this
Yeah.
ingredient, and what is the efficaciousness of it, and where is those results obtained from? And the other big thing is a lot of products are also only tested for certain Fitzpatrick. So if you
Yeah.
are, one to maybe two or three, you're great. We're going to check mark that. It works on all skin types. It, boosted collagen by 95%. But you forgot all the colored girls out over here,
Yeah.
and they don't do that because we're too variable, right? There's too much pigment,
Yeah.
there's too much melanin. So I think it's such a deep conversation. I think that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
That's a part two. But I think my journey is really about honing in, asking the questions, calling bullshit when it is, and not being afraid to use your voice.
I couldn't agree more. So two of the values of the clinic that are my personal values is the relentless pursuit of excellence and curiosity. And I think those two things together, when you value both of those, when you value getting excellent results and you value curiosity, you can't help but be that person in the room
Yeah.
who's like, but why?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're right and I'm wrong, I want to take what you know
Yes.
and make myself better for it.
Yes.
And if you're not right, and I always say this is probably ruthless. I'm like, you know what? I'm not always right. I'm not often wrong. That's what
I,
I say to my husband, to be clear. I say that to my husband. And
I
so
love that, though. I think I might have to steal that one from you, Sarah.
I know. But within that, I think because I'm so viciously curious and I want my profession, as you do, to be excellent and known for excellence, I challenge the whole profession.
Yeah.
And it pisses a lot of people off.
Yes.
But they always say, like, the nice girls are never making history. And a very long time ago, I gave up the idea that I was going to be that person. I wanted to be the person who made an impact. And I think that has allowed me to ground in that curiosity and ground in that excellence.
Yeah.
But you have to challenge boundaries to do it. You
Yeah.
have to,
Yeah.
because the world doesn't want excellence.
Yeah.
So if you do, then
Yeah.
you have to push the boundaries.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the people that are going to be coming to you, like I always say, the people who are on my table are going to find you. They're
Yeah.
looking for people who are really creating a difference. They're not looking for a 30-minute express facial. And
Yeah.
listen, if you think in 30 minutes an express facial is going to change your life, I'm really going to piss on your parade. It ain't changing your life. It
Yeah.
just is not, it's not going to happen. If you're telling me I can do 100 sit ups and I'm going to get a six
Yeah.
pack, sign me up. But the reality of it is we know that that's not going to happen. So how is it that we know that's not going to happen, but consumers are going to go in for a 30-minute or a 45-minute express facial, or we do a bazillion things for like 2 minutes and pay $250 because that's all it is. Oh, this is a bargain. But you're not getting what you're wanting. And then you walk away and you're like, well, yeah, skin looks good. Next morning you wake up and it looks the same. Well, you can't be pissed because it looks the same.
So I feel like it's very similar in our industries, right? People have low expectations of a facial. They go because they want to relax, not because they actually believe what's being put on their face and done to their face can make permanent change to how they feel and how they present themselves. It's similar with naturopathic medicine, right? People come in and they're like, oh, okay, she'll give me a supplement. She'll balance my hormones, whatever the hell that means. And then they move on. But it's like, if you take this on, right? If you take this seriously, if you want the excellence in the protocols that we offer at Advanced Women's Health, that you offer, it can change your life. But I think that's the challenge I find is we're actually working against a whole system, right? And talking about perimenopause, which we will today at some point, we'll get there. But in the world of skin, the system is now poke it, inject it, clip it, tuck it, remove it,
Burn it,
right?
peel.
Burn it. Exactly. That's the system. And so it's actually hard to believe that someone's cold cryo sticks and rapid acting hands. If you want to see something funny, watch Vee on Instagram. Like, it looks like you're like a
I'm
little
being
hummingbird on someone's face, right? But it's hard for people to believe that manual therapy on their face could make that big of an impact. It's hard for someone to believe that they could leave my office with a personalized dietary recommendation and 3 supplements and it could change their life. And so we have to acknowledge that we're working against the tide in this education, which is why it's even more important to me that we're doing it so that people know there's other options.
I agree. I think there's two points to that. First of all, people want, I call it Amazon skin. We've trained people that with a click of a, at
Bye now.
by now, 24 hours, it's on your doorstep. We've trained people that this instant gratification is you can purchase it. It's there for, you tap your card and it's instantly. And so going to your points about the injectables, the filling, the maybe some of the more invasives, which is the lasers and the peels, yeah, you know what you're in for. But the injectables are huge because you can inject something and suddenly there's no movement. You can inject something and everything looks like this, and it's instant. So it's instant gratification. And we've trained people because now we also have so much access to what the celebrities or the people that you watch across the world are doing. And they do it and they're like, oh, she's beautiful, he's so gorgeous, I want that. And so I'm just going to go, oh, she did, oh, okay, Dr. X did this, so I just go in, and these clinics just keep doing that. So I think it's the Amazon skin issue that we have. I think the other thing is that people also know that, yes, through facials, and you said it, it's very relaxing. And yes, it's a moment of pause and disconnect. But there's a whole other thing that happens. Your brain can actually pause, stop, and fall asleep. The amount of clients that are full on, full out, done. Like, I will come back into the room after the LED lights and they're like, oh my God, where am I? Like, what is happening? I'm like, it's okay. I was so sorry. Was I snoring? I'm like, that's the best compliment. I know that you're truly in this state of like disconnect. And so when you put all of that together, with
Yeah.
ingredients and the right modalities and the touch. And I think there's something
Yeah.
so big about touch. And
Oh, yeah.
as humans, we're meant to be touched and we're meant to be hugged. And like, think about COVID when, we couldn't, like, the
That's what I was
people,
just gonna say. Yeah.
right, there was such a huge like uptick on people's like mental health, right?
Yeah.
And as humans, we're meant to be touched, we're meant to be around people, we're human beings, we need to be around community. That's where we get our energy from. And I think
Yeah.
there's something so much to that. So people can sometimes look at facials as a pampering, and when you tag pampering to anything, it means it's a one-off.
Yeah.
But those same people will hit up a Barry's boot camp at 5 a.m. every single day because they've got to work
Yeah.
out their body to stay healthy. We've got
Yeah.
40 plus muscles this way, nipples up. Those
Yeah.
muscles need to be worked out. So if
Yeah.
you're not touching them and
Is
lifting.
that why our boobs drop? The No, I'm joking.
Listen, I can do this. Yeah. I can pull up your breasts, including your cheeks. There is no turkey neck here. Like, I'm telling you, it's a whole, like, you know how they would do, like, the mommy tucks or the mommy, like, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just gotta come in, give me 2 hours, you'll be golden. Like,
Yeah,
it'll
exactly.
be great.
Nipples in the air, double chin's gone.
No, no, we don't
She's
even.
your girl.
Double chin? We've never heard of double chin. It's like, who's that? So I think there's something huge about
Yeah.
like knowing that it's not a one off, it's not self
Yeah.
care, it's what you need because you eat and you drink all day, every day. So
Totally.
don't we need to work all of this out every single day? And you don't have to
Yeah.
do a million steps, but if you just do 3 steps, cleanse your face, put your moisturizer on, throw your SPF on in the morning, and nighttime cleanse and moisturize. Keep it super simple. If you're super overwhelmed or a busy mom or you're going through, shit's hit the fan, that's all right. Just
Yeah.
do that. And I think if you just do those things and you start to become consistent with it, the changes happen, which then in turn will encourage you to do it more often.
This is a perfect point to transition into talking about skin during perimenopause and menopause. Because what we're talking about up until this point, right? Touch, lymphatic support, working those muscles, cleanser, SPF, moisturizer, in our control.
Yeah.
Hormone shift, not as much in our control. So, walk me through what you see on the table. What conversations you're having with people as they're transitioning through perimenopause into menopause, and what you're doing about
So I think there's 2 parts that I have to approach when we talk about perimenopause. One, which is the physical of what is happening on the skin, where suddenly there's a disconnect. So what they see in the mirror is not necessarily what they recognize. And the other, which is the psychological and the emotional impact that this journey is having on them, where it's like I don't know what's going on. And Dr. Sarah, you can speak more about this than even I can, but it's the foggy brain,
Oh,
can't
yeah.
remember a single thing, can't string a sentence together. Oh my god, like, why am I so hot? Okay, why can't I just sleep at night? What am I waking up? I'm not even stressed.
Yeah.
What is this to-do list? And it's absolutely bananas. I have no idea what's going on. Suddenly, where the reality of it is, we also have to talk about sexually being intimate
Yeah.
with your partner. I love having sex. Oh, wait, all
Yeah.
of a sudden I want to, but I don't feel like I want to. Like, what is that battle that's going on?
Painful, it's
Painful.
changed. Oh, yeah, 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 totally.
And
Yep.
so I think there's the psychological aspect of what they're going through that I deal with, and there is the physical. So the conversations that I have is, first off the bat, whether it's a new client or an existing client, I always ask, where are we perimenopause? I always ask them, when you look at your skin in the mirror, what is bothering you today? and they'll say nothing. And I'll say, okay, brilliant. So what is it that you want me to work on? Well, I don't mind a little bit of this, and I don't mind this, a little bit of sunspots. I don't mind this, I don't mind that. So those things are bothering you. Okay, great. It's just really about the conversation of what is it that you're seeing that is bothering you. And then a lot of times, if it's more deeper rooted, I just don't know why my skin's doing this all of a sudden. Or I've just noticed all of a sudden I'm seeing this, or I'm breaking out, or it's super dry and I've been using the same products. I've used no new products. Like, why is it so dry? Like, why am I like this? And then I was always ask them, where are we with the perimenopause or the menopause conversation? And the two sad parts are one, which is I think I probably am, but I don't really know, which you should know, because not for anything else, it's going to help navigate this part of the journey to be more effective. And the other, which is, I think I am. I went to my doctor, and my doctor was like, "Oh no, you're fine. Everybody goes through it," and they just dismiss them. Because they don't know there's other facilities out there. And the amount of people I'm like, okay, we're going to send you an email later on at the end of this treatment. I'm going to hook you up with Dr. Sarah and her brilliant geniuses, and they're going to take care of you. Go have that conversation, because the amount of money you spend, the amount of time you spend with me, it all is wasted if you're not looking after that part. So when it comes to skin, we definitely notice that there's a lack of oil production. We definitely notice that people will start saying everything feels like it's just, moving down south. People start to see, more pigmentation. I mean, pigmentation is something that you did when you were in your early 20s and you thought you were invincible and you never had to wear SPF, because it's that generation. No, don't even. No. We can't have this conversation and you do this to me. No.
I was never in a tanning booth as a very white Irish descendant who loves to burn. Never. Yeah.
So I think, it's knowing that these things are all coming up, and it's me holding their hand to say, what you are seeing is absolutely valid. And yes, it's there and I can see it. And it's not just deal with it, oh well, you're screwed, put yourself on the shelf, you're done. It's to say those things are all valid. And then it's the other thing of, if they do say, I literally can't string a sentence together. Like, it's just wild. I just don't, I'm doing a to-do list. I don't even know. I'm not even stressed. And it's to say, look, there's a resource out there for you that will help you navigate that part of the conversation. And even if you just have a consultation, you'll get a little bit more of an awareness of why these things are happening. And I think the biggest thing is it's holding that person's hand. Me also saying, I get it. I'm perimenopausal myself. I totally understand. Went upstairs, totally forgot what I was there for. Took me another 10 minutes to figure that out. Missed my bus.
And then tagged me in the stories and be like, we need help.
I need help. Please help me. I think I did that, didn't I?
Yes, you did. I love that you did that and then didn't even remember that you did that. That's like a classic Perimenopause move.
That's the funny part. It's like, wait, I didn't do that. Okay, case in point, guys. Everyone that's listening, perimenopause. So I think it's just like, me holding their hand and knowing that the person, and even if it's an esthetician who's younger, it's just about being aware and saying everything you're feeling is valid. Here's the resources that we can offer you. And I may not know that, but here's somebody that does. And it's just about spreading that. I do love the fact it's not at where it should be. And I think we are going to get there. But I love the fact that more and more women are walking into a room saying, I am perimenopause. this shit is a whole new ball game. Like, what the heck? Like, I love the fact, and I think people like Naomi Watts and Halle Berry, and I think these amazing superstars are definitely using their voice in the right way, and we just need more of that, and we need more people saying, holy shit, I'm perimenopause. Like, I go into like meetings sometimes and I'll say, I'm going to quickly get this in because I'm perimenopause, I'm going to forget this question, what do we do with this? And you know, when you say that, it empowers so many more women to be like, yeah, me too. So yeah.
Totally. And it's such a weird world right now because I do a lot of corporate wellness work. And so I see in the entrepreneurial community, in a lot of those communities, we're sitting there being like, okay, like perimenopause is on the table. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. And then we see in the corporate world, there's still a lot of the perimenopause conversation comes up, and there's an assumption about how much money they can make and raises and sick days and time off and all these types of things. So it's actually an interesting world for me to straddle because I want the empowerment. We need education about options. We need education about risk factors. For anyone who's just jumping into this episode, we have a bunch of episodes on either side of it talking about bone health, cardiovascular health, talking about a lot of these different things that we need to know about and what's optional and what's not, how much of the brain fog is optional, how much is not, right? These are really important conversations that we need to know to make informed decisions. But then also knowing there's so many people in the workforce that is so unsafe for them to say that because they can lose promotions, they can lose titles, they can lose money. Like there was a study in Forbes that came out that I can't remember the numbers. I was just looking at it that showed like how much less money women make going through perimenopausal transition. And it was wild. It was
It's
wild. Um,
that's bananas to me. Like, I
yeah,
it really pisses the shit out of me when I hear, you know, people who are pregnant, you know, keeping it like hush hush for the longest time. Like you said, perimenopause. I think no matter, you know, listen, this is a Debbie Downer in me, and I don't get down very often, but it's really a shit show because no matter how far we go, it always
yeah,
just feels as women we're like 10 steps behind, and
yeah.
that's the sucky part. And you just want to be like, no, like that's just not, yeah, just, ugh.
And that's why we need more big businesses run by women, right? I think that's the thing that I'm so passionate about is having those conversations and building platforms and opportunities because it does make a huge difference. But the reality is, and I think this is why I wanted to talk about skin, is let's put the brain fog, right? The actual challenges with cognition, with projects, with balancing tasks, with memory aside. If you look a certain way, you are going to be judged based on your competence as a woman.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people end up valuing skin, end up valuing youth, end up valuing these things because like I was talking to a friend who's a female entrepreneur, and she was saying that she's had a bunch of work done, and she categorically is given more respect in a room now that she's deemed as beautiful. And her husband looks homeless, probably. Like, you know what I mean? If I saw him on the street, I would be like,
Let
you're
me
an
give you a fiver.
idiot.
Can I buy you a coffee?
And he gets respect because he has money. And so we were just talking about that, like money in the room in men versus she has the same amount of money he does, but she's given respect now that she's had work done and like the reckoning that she's come to with that. And but so many people are not going to have surgery, right? They are not going to make that choice for themselves. And so I think it's important to talk about like what can we do to feel confident and empowered? Because obviously there's a component of stepping in your own skin, feeling like the confidence starting here, but then there's the reality that we face in the rest of the world that the more supple and plump your skin is and the more ratioed your face is, the more value you're going to be deemed by society. So how do you those conversations? Like how do you
You
sit
know,
with that topic? It's
you know,
huge.
it's huge, and I really do think it's a bit of a challenging one because the reality of it is, if you look haggard, you look haggard. Like, that's
Yeah.
reality. Like, you know, And I think even just for us, we show up every day. I have
Yeah.
lines and have a few wrinkles, and my skin's a little extra dry right now because I tried a
Yeah.
product and it made it super dry. I'm like, oh, like what's happening? And you know, I definitely feel like my eyes aren't like whatever they used to be. The reality of it is, we always want to look the best, and you know, it makes us feel better, it makes us be more
Yeah.
productive, it makes us feel more confident, more self-esteem, all of that. And I think there's two things that women do. If you can't control that, you either just say, you know what, F it. Like
Yeah.
this is me. Take me as I am. I don't really give a
Yep.
shit. This is, and then they just
Yep.
let themselves go. And I don't
Yeah.
really think you have to, you know, conform to that. You can
Yep.
still do. I started this conversation with the bare minimum: cleanse your face, put your moisturizer on, put an SPF
Yeah.
on. You're golden. Nighttime,
Yeah.
cleanser, moisturizer, go to bed. Great. And I think if people just know that you don't have to do a million things, you don't
Yeah.
have to have like no wrinkles. I think, you know, what was a great moment in time was when I grew up watching Sex in the City. I love fashion. I love New York. It was like, you know, this little girl in the middle of Leicester, which is like a small town in England. And I sat there in my bedroom. I was like, oh, what would I do to, you know, be able to get there?
Yeah.
And I just loved everything about it. But when they came out with this new, like, you know, and just like that, and everybody was like,
Yeah.
what happened to Sarah Jessica Parker, and what happened to Christine Cavallari, and blah, blah. And it was crazy because what we were noticing was they were just picking on the ones that had more lines and wrinkles. And I think it was Sarah
Mm.
Jessica Parker that said, if you thought that I was going to look the same as
Yeah.
Sex in the City to now, like it's just not going to happen. So get
Yeah.
comfortable with me looking like this. And I
Yeah.
think the thing is, look, if you want to have the work done because it makes you feel good, go get the work done.
Yeah.
Don't get the work done because it's going to be a paycheck, it's going to be a promotion, it's going to be a new title. Because the reality of it is, women who will get the work done, they still probably may not get the title, the promotion, and the
Absolutely.
paycheck. So you might as well, you know, not waste the time and go through all of that pain. I think it's about more of us saying, if you have a line or wrinkle, or if you're sitting around a dinner table with a bunch of your friends and they've all had Botox and you don't need to feel like you don't belong. You equally
Yeah.
belong because there's confidence. And I really do feel when I start talking to my clients in the room, they're like, oh, that's so nice. This energy, this positivity, there is nothing more but to transfer it. It automatically transfers. So if more of us do that, and less of us start beating down on other women because they don't
Yeah.
get frozen, that's
Yeah.
half of our battle too. Let's just be honest. Women aren't women's best friends sometimes. So if somebody's too skinny, too overweight, too Botox, too filled, too not, too saggy, who gives a flying rat's ass?
Yeah.
Let's just all just be happy.
You know what my theory is on it? What I always say is, are you concerned about it being a reflection of your loss of control? And that's the conversation I have with people. Are you, so you use the word haggard, right? So I always say, on the days you feel haggard, you feel like you look tired, you feel like your skin is sagging. Are you concerned about what you see in the mirror? Or are you concerned about the life you lived the 5 days up to that moment? Because that's in our control.
Yeah.
And I think it's such an important conversation to have because we have all eaten in ways, done things, had stress responses, and looked at a puffy face in a picture, right? And or gained weight, lost weight, had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
90% of the time, what's going through that person's head is not a hit to the confidence because of what they see. It's because of the stories that they know are associated with what they see, right? And that's the distinction I make for people, right? I always say I'm never going to say never. I likely am not going to ever get anything done because I smile a ton and I effing love laughing.
I love
And
laughing.
right. And so this is a representation of that, right? The lines on my forehead, specifically right here above my eyes, is what I do when I'm stressed. So when I see this showing up, when I see that I'm puffy here, it's because I have not taken care of myself and I am stressed.
Yeah.
So I don't love those things because of what they're associated with to me. If you go through a really rough transition in perimenopause where you're not sleeping, your relationship takes a hit, you don't feel like yourself, then you associate the changes in your face with how you felt in that moment, right? If you transition through perimenopause and feel empowered and have some wrinkles, it's like rock on. You know what I mean? I'm in my empowered phase. I call it your effort phase. But I think that's what's actually happening is for so many people, their skin is a reflection of self-neglect. It's a reflection of the fact that they've lost themselves, they've lost their way, they've given up on themselves. And so it shows up here and it's hard to look at. And I think that's a piece.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. As you were talking about that, I was thinking about your friend who went and got all the work done. And to your point, you can get all the work done, but I wonder if emotionally that changes because yes, what you see in the mirror now looks all, tight and whatever else she had done, and that's her prerogative. But if you're battling something psychologically and emotionally,
Yeah.
that's still there, right? You didn't get to the root cause of how you were still feeling about yourself.
Today's episode is brought to you by none other than Advanced Women's Health. If you are interested in diving in deeper to your health, if you are finally ready to feel like yourself, and you are finally over hearing everything's normal, everything's fine, and you want a deeper dive into your healthcare, then we are here to help you. We are currently helping patients in British Columbia and Ontario, Canada. But don't worry, if you're in another province, still reach out, get added to the wait list as we expand coast to coast. We cannot wait to work with you. Check out the show notes for more information on how to get started.
So her and I talk about that all the time. And like hers was really like she needed a before and after in her life. She had a really challenging upbringing. She had a lot of stuff going on and she shed a lot of that and did a ton of self work in order to reach the level of success that she had. And so she's like, you know what? I have the money and I want to make a face that matches the version of myself that I now see. I understand it's dissociative behavior. I understand what I'm doing, but I'm doing it because I deserve to feel like a new person in the mirror because I've done the work
Yeah.
to not be where I was before. And it's such an interesting like conversation to have to understand all perspectives and to be able to
Yeah.
have those conversations at a deeper level. But you're right, like it was kind of her way of being like, I don't need to hold on to all of that stuff anymore, which is reflected in my nose and my eyebrows. And I was like, give her
Yeah.
at least you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people might pull on that straw thinking, if I just do this, then I'll feel better. Or if I just, get my boobs done, then I'll get
Yeah,
that position. If I just do, and I don't think there's anything
absolutely.
wrong with any of what I just said. But I think you have to dig deep. And to your point, Dr. Sarah, is understand why you're getting that done. And if you know you're getting that done because, yes, you're leaving all of that behind, but you equally feel like this is just going to be this like wonderful butterfly moment, then yes, you do that. Like, go for it. Like, I think that's great.
Yeah, I hear you. I always say that to people is I'm like, I will absolutely never, ever judge the decisions you make about your body because it's yours, right? And I will always support you, whether you're happy with what you did or not. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Moving through it. I think what I do want to do is affect change for those people who it does not feel like the right thing, but
Yeah.
they see the rest of the world and they feel like it's their only option.
Yeah. So I have that conversation, and clients will say that to me. Like I'm sitting around, dinner table with a bunch of my girlfriends, and they've all had Botox, and I just
Yeah.
hate my 11s, but I don't want to do Botox. And I'm like, then don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, does it bother you? I'm like, and a lot of times these people say yes, but at the same time, not really. But they've all had it done, so I almost feel like am I just meant to have this done? And that's where the conversation has shifted to, is that they're battling the hearing of, oh, like if you do have lines and wrinkles, you're going to be shelved. You're almost close to your expiry date. If you have saggy skin, you're going to be close to your expiry date. If you look, this, all these negatives, you're close to your expiry date. And I think that's what they're scared of. But it's like, if you don't be scared of that, if somebody tells you you're gonna be fine, you don't need to do that. And I think more and more people are saying that. And I think we will feel a shift in that. Like even injectors, they are moving away because there's so much negativity around the fillers, and the fillers moving, and the Botox, and the fillers and the Botox are remaining in your face for, they said it was only 9 months, but it actually lasted for 15 years. I think more of that is surfacing, and I think more people are starting to become a little bit more aware and looking for alternatives. And I think the more people do of this, the better it will get.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that because this is the world that I enjoy for myself, but not one that I know very much about. So, what do those alternatives look like? So, say
Yeah.
I'm coming to you and I'm like, okay, I've been through a stressful window of time. I feel like my 11s are coming in hot. I feel like my face shape is changing and I want to be proactive. I'm working on my stress. I'm working on my diet. I'm working on these other things. But what are you instructing people? Like, obviously, you're doing the treatment, but what types of things are you getting them to take away to be empowered as well?
Yeah, so a lot of times, I do talk about like, how much time do you have in your morning and your nighttime? And I think that's really important. Some clients are like, I have all the time in the world because I have nobody in the house left anymore. Kids have all gone and it's just me and my
Yeah.
husband or whatever. And they want everything that I can give them. And so I'll set them up with everything. There'll be other people, they'll be like, I'm on a budget. I really just can't afford a lot. Like, what are the few key things that I can do? And so it's really about creating a prescription that makes sense to each person's lifestyle and budget, that they want to be able to take home with them. Obviously, then I'll pick those products. Everything that I pick for them, I always look at formulation. So even if I have 5 cleansers from 5 different companies, it goes back to, looking at formulation, looking at what's going on the skin, and then kind of guiding them from there. In terms of at home, I do majority of the time set them up with my gua sha sticks. There's two reasons. Number one, it gives them that moment of whether it's 5 minutes, 3 minutes, half an hour, 20 minutes of
Half an hour.
some of my clients want all the bells and whistles. Yeah. I,
I'm like 23.5 seconds of cold on my face. No, I actually
I
love
can
those.
literally,
Yeah.
I can literally do skincare for like hours on myself, but hence why I'm in this industry. Um, but I will literally set them up with that, and I
Yeah.
will say to them, I will understand like what does your nighttime routine looks like, what does your morning look like, and then try and build it into that. And if there's somebody that loves to just sit and watch telly at nighttime, I'll say do your entire skincare, and then while you're watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, all Botoxed and filled up, you just go like this and you use
Yeah.
this and you'll be golden. and it feels good. It's a sensory, you know, moment of pause. And so you automatically do it and you want to keep doing it. If in the morning they're saying, oh, you know, I don't really have a lot of time, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna have to be quick, then I'll say, okay, wash your face, make sure you only rinse with cold water, so no cleansing in the shower. Do your shower, jump out, cleanse at the sink, cold water to cool, calm, soothe the skin down. Put on your moisturizer, put on your SPF. If you want to put makeup on, great. It's really about creating the perfect morning and nighttime routine that feels digestible and something that's not going to add time. So
Yeah.
that's how I tell them. I say to them, if you have a moment, I load up loads of different, you know, massage videos and things like that, both on my Instagram and on my YouTube. Just take a moment and walk through it. You'll literally feel like I'm there in your bathroom, and we'll just do it
Yeah.
together. I think it's about feeling like you're not doing this by yourself,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And I have the cryo sticks. I love them. Partially because I chase my kids around the house with them, I'll be completely honest. And they think it is like the craziest thing. But also because I agree with you, it's a moment. And for me, I love like cold water in general or any temperature shift is so grounding to me. And so I'll just grab them. And if I'm being honest, I don't even know what I'm doing. I should probably
You
take one
don't
of
need
your
to.
videos and do
It's
it. But
easy.
it's just like, it's just that transition that brings me back to myself that makes such a huge difference. And like I said, and then I chase my kids around because they think it's hilarious when I touch them with freezing cold objects.
That's so cute.
But with that, right, when you're doing those routines, when you're doing the massage, when you're doing like even 5 minutes of that, what do you expect to see over time? Because feel it in a grounded moment, right? So when we are using the cryo sticks and when we're in this place where you're doing the massage and you're doing the cryo, if you do that every day, what are the results that we're expecting to see? What are the changes that you're seeing in your skin? And how does that relate back to perimenopause?
Okay, so in terms of what you're going to see in the skin is things are going to be looking a lot more lifted, a lot more contoured, and it will just naturally do that. It's the gua sha ergonomic, so it's draining any type of excess lymph, which makes our face look puffy sometimes. Even if you don't have that puffiness, it's your facial workout, right? It's your putting your muscles back where they should be, not down here. So it's lifting. So you're definitely going to notice much more of that contouring. You'll notice everything feels lifted. Underneath the eyes, you'll notice there's brightness. If you go over your nose quite a fair bit, over the chin, you'll notice that when you have enlarged pores, the more you do it, people have said that their pores look a lot more constricted. Long term, what you're going to get is because you're getting that surge of oxygenation that feeds the tissue. And as we know, oxygenation, feeding tissue, bringing that very rich, nutrient dense blood supply, everything looks a lot more useful. So, fine lines and wrinkles, because we're kind of getting that collagen synthesis kickstarted.
Yeah.
So, if you do have lines and wrinkles, they look a lot more softer. Pores look a lot more constricted, your muscles look lifted. You get this beautiful, nice balance to the skin. When you have that surge of oxygenation, also you've got this beautiful vibrancy and luminescence to that to the skin. It just looks really glowy and dewy. Some of my clients who've been using it for a couple of years, every single day, morning and night, have said if they have tiny little broken capillaries, they've disappeared. If you
Oh,
have a
so cool.
breakout, you use it at nighttime. The following morning, you'll notice if it's red and inflamed, it will have gone down easily 50%. So you are creating that. Perimenopause, again, we're starting to see our collagen depletion. We're starting to see oil depletion. We're starting to see everything moving further south. We're starting to see that the volume isn't what it used to be. The more you use this, the better it's going to be to keep everything lifted. And then the other big one is if you are somebody that struggles with hot flushes, those sweats. If you suddenly got acne, because that's a big one in perimenopause, if you suddenly found like you got sensitivity, you will notice that the more you use your gua sha cryo sticks, it keeps everything under control.
Yeah. Love that. Love that.
The
Amazing. I
magic.
love an actionable tip. I think it makes such a big difference for people. And we hear about gua sha, we hear about so many of these different things, but truly, like, I think, again, I like cold. From a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, any of my NDs listening are like, we know why, but it makes such a huge difference. And I am one who has a lot of red to my skin.
That's
It
that
can have that.
Irish part of your ancestry that you have.
Yeah.
I always figure out, like, where do mom and dad come from? Does mom or dad have any
Yeah.
redness? And any of my European, Irish, Scottish,
Yeah.
they definitely have that underlying flushing. And so the goal is just to keep everything under control. And then that over time, the more you use it, even with like rosacea and sensitivity, like you'll notice that it won't become so noticeable.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Well, thank you, V. I could talk to you forever. I'm sure we will do part 2 and 3 and 4. And one of those sessions will be in Miami
Oh,
with
yay.
cocktails while we
We
record.
can do that. That would be so fun.
Sarah and V after hours, right?
Oh, that's a whole double X rated.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my
But
God.
I
Thank
just
you
want
so
to
much.
thank you for coming on. We have all of your links in the show notes. V does virtual consultations. She also sees people in Toronto. You're still seeing people in Miami and New York as well, right?
I am, yeah. I have a residency in New York, and then private clients in Miami. So yeah, it's absolutely bananas. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, we'll talk about business another day as well. But
Yeah,
I just want to thank you for coming on. And our last question is always, and I think we've talked about it enough, but I want to ask it for the sake of completion.
yeah.
What do you wish women knew in this period in life about their skin, about their skincare routines? Like, if you could wrap it up into one thing, what do you wish women knew?
I wish women knew that you don't have to conform to this, one uniform look of what people say is beautiful, sexy, whatever tag you want to put on there. I think
Yeah.
everyone's unique beauty comes out in themselves. I want to just empower women, know that your beauty isn't just throwing on products. It goes deeper. It's about what's happening in here, what's happening in here, what's happening in your gut, how we're touching you, how we're, prescribing treatments. But know that whoever you are, no matter what age, like beauty is something that comes from within. It's your energy, it's what you're sharing. It's not about any of the external.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, thank you so much for coming. I am
Yeah,
sure we're going to have a lot of gua sha sticks purchased on the back
I love
end.
that. I love that. We should also offer your community a little discount. Why don't we do that?
Yep. I'll put it in the show notes. So for everyone, you can access Vee's website. We'll put the discount code in the show notes, which will be amazing. Thank you for coming.
You're very welcome.
And yeah, I can't wait until we talk next.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you had as much fun as we did. And if you loved today's episode, share it with a friend and leave us a review. That is how we spread this message, and that is how we are going to revolutionize healthcare in Canada for women. Have a beautiful day and be well.